Hello, my name is Egan and I'm running to be your representative for District 3 of the Seattle City Council. My roots in this district run deep. My grandparents lived here in the 1930s and 40s, and my mom was raised here. I landed back in the district after I came out in the early 90s. I remember watching the Pride Parade on Broadway and feeling like I had arrived someplace special where I could be myself and be safe. Little did I know that 15 years later, I'd be producing the Pride Festival downtown, and 10 years after that, a newly imagined Pride event on Broadway, attracting over 50,000 annual attendees. I returned to the neighborhood of my grandparents in the Central District just after 9/11 to buy a house and settle down on a quiet street with single-family homes and occupied by black and white, gay and straight, families and single people. And despite the affordability crisis, our neighborhood has largely maintained its diversity. But throughout District 3, others haven't been as lucky. A recent documentary declared that Seattle is dying. But I think that couldn't be further from the truth. There is arguably more opportunity and prosperity in Seattle than there's ever been, but it has left many people behind. Folks who can't afford the high rents, workers who don't make a living wage, families that have to decide between having one kid or no children at all because the cost of living here is so high. For those people, this city government, including my opponent, Shama Sawant, has failed them. People talk about our homelessness crisis, but it's really three different crises: a shelter crisis, a mental health and addiction crisis, and an affordability crisis. All three must be addressed in order to improve the lives of our unsheltered neighbors and ensure that our communities are healthy and vibrant, and to create more opportunities for workers so they can work and live here and raise their families here. There is movement on affordable housing, but it will take time. We need to continue to support organizations like Capitol Hill Housing, who are creating the affordable housing of tomorrow. Recently, I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Liberty Bank building at 24th and Union, which has an African American occupancy rate of 87%. For those redlined to the Central District in the 60s and 70s and then displaced by rising rents, mortgages, and development over the last 20 years, this gives historic residents of the neighborhood a way to stay there. The citizens of District 3 deserve a council member who will be there every year, every day in fact, on the ground, talking to voters, to small businesses, to nonprofits, figuring out what's working and listening to the ideas of constituents about how to make it better. I've run 2 small businesses from District 3. I also have a lot of nonprofit leadership experience. Through my work with the Capitol Hill Chamber of Commerce and Broadway Business Improvement Area, I interact with small businesses on a daily basis. With our ratepayer contributions, I manage 7-day-a-week cleaning of Broadway, including needles and graffiti that have become an everyday part of our urban village. I know the day-to-day in District 3 because I'm here doing the work to make the lives of citizens and small businesses alike better. But where's Shama Sawant been? The citizens of District 3 deserve someone who can build bridges, not burn them. I worked across organizations on Capitol Hill, First Hill, and Chinatown ID to bring back homeless outreach workers to the neighborhood. When I reached out to meet with Shama Sawant, I got no response. Even the day I went to give public testimony about it to council, she wasn't on the dais. She had the day off. As has been the experience of so many citizens and organizations in District 3, I had to go around her to get anything done at council. And despite her absence and working in coalition, I was able to get funding for 3 full-time homeless workers in 3 different neighborhoods to connect our unsheltered neighbors to resources and give residents and small businesses alike another tool to keep our streets and sidewalks healthy, safe, and vibrant. The citizens of District 3 deserve a council member who won't just talk, but will act. I have a record of building coalitions to get hard things done, building large events and movements to give voice to the voiceless and a place at the table for those who have been so long denied a seat. In the past few weeks, you've seen my opponent finally return to the district to meet with groups and show up for community events. But where was she the last few years when we needed her, when the various crises in our city were getting worse and worse? I mean, if you got a job and showed up for the first 2 days and then skipped out on the next 4, what would happen? You'd get fired. Look, I appreciate Shama Sawant expanding the boundaries of political discourse in the city. I appreciate her leadership in her first term on $15 an hour. I love the enthusiasm of her followers. But what has she done in the last 4 years? I think it's time for a fresh start with a council member that can get the work done for the people of District 3 and the city. Fight for a living wage. Restore confidence in City Council so it works for you. I'll represent and be accountable to all the people and neighborhoods within District 3. From Madrona to Yesler Terrace. From Mount Baker, Addison Park, to Madison Valley. From First Hill, even to my neighbors on the street where I live. From the Central District to Montlake and all the people and places in between. And of course to the people of Capitol Hill, where my story began. We can have a city council that works and that helps to contribute to a Seattle we can all be proud of. But it's going to take some work. So join me and let's get started.